Hello and welcome to the Awakened Spirit YouTube channel. My name is Melanie Sheree. I'm a lifelong medium and spiritual teacher, and today we're going to be going into the third pillar of empowerment in the empowerment series in my classes, the Awakened Spirit meditation classes. And tonight we're going to be looking at the relation between the body and your sensitivity and your empowerment. And if you are somebody who's highly sensitive, intuitive, somebody who's into psychic development, if you're empathic, if you're wanting to learn how to really hone that sensitivity and own it so that it can be your greatest gift instead of your greatest nightmare. I know somebody who's highly sensitive. That was my experience for so many years. And if that's you, then this is the channel for you. Be sure to like and subscribe so that you can know when stuff comes out. So that you can be the first to know as videos drop. Hello and welcome to the Awakened Spirit meditation class. Tonight we're going to be delving into empowerment and your sensitivity. And when I start to talk about this topic, a lot of stuff gets dredged up because as highly sensitive souls, being sensitive doesn't usually equate to being empowered. It usually means, oh my God, I am so overstimulated. Everything texture-wise is wrong. It's too loud. It's too bright. Get me the heck out of here. And I know that we've all had that experience, and it is a very frustrating one. So for those of you who don't know me, hello, my name is Melanie. I'm a lifelong medium and spiritual teacher. And I just want to preface this by saying, when I say I'm a lifelong medium, I mean I have a master's degree in being highly sensitive. My whole life was everything was too much, and I'm too sensitive, and why does nobody understand the discomfort that I'm experiencing as somebody who's highly sensitive? So tonight we are going to be taking a journey into finding empowerment over that sensitivity. So let's jump in and just do a quick meditation to get into the space and kind of work a little bit of that initial charge that gets kicked up for class. So go ahead and take a nice deep breath. You could shake it out if you need to. Start to notice your body. You made it. You've arrived. Just give your body that recognition. I kind of like to rub my thighs, or if I'm sitting cross-legged, rub my knees and just let myself know, like, hey, I made it. I'm here. And what we're going to do is we're just going to start to find that spiritual lightness. So if there's something that you can find that is amusing or funny, or no matter what is going on, it's just the most hilarious thing. We're really going to need that amusement imagery in order to work through some of the layers around this tonight. So find that meme, find that moment that's just makes things a little bit lighter for you. I was working with somebody recently who said they really like that hamster meme where it says, the horrors persist, but so do I. It's a little hamster riding in the convertible. It's a great one. So finding that amusement, we're just going to start by visualizing a line of energy that connects at your hips and runs all the way down to the center of the planet. We're going to get nice and grounded. And with your intention, just start to visualize that line of energy, that trunk of that tree, that waterfall, whatever it is you want to ground with. And I'd like you to imagine or intend that if there's any energy in your body that you're holding onto or activated in, you could maybe just allow yourself to let that go. What I want you to do is visualize any colors or vibrations or energies, maybe as dark opaque colors or little dots of energy, or maybe it's just like you've been holding on to all of these bricks all day. I want you to just watch as that energy drops out of your body and down that grounding. Don't forget to breathe. Breathing is good. Really give yourself permission to let go. And if there's anything in your space that says it's not okay to let go, or you have to hurry up and get to the next thing, or you have to keep holding on, or that's not ready to just let all of that go, I want you to just notice where that might be in your body. Maybe that's because you have a million things to do. You have a wedding to plan, a multi-million-dollar business to run. Or maybe it's just because we have a hard time sometimes letting go. I want you to find where you notice that stiffness or stuckness or resistance in your body. I want you to give it a little tickle. Maybe if it's kind of serious, you can give it a little yeah, raspberries. There you go. Nice. As you allow that energy to leave your body, you're really giving your body permission to be right here in the present moment and to let go of everything else you've been managing. And as somebody who's highly sensitive, we oftentimes take on so many things that are just not even ours. We just notice them and we become them. The empath experience, right? So this tool is just so important in finding your empowerment over that charge in the world. Taking another nice deep breath. Like, start to notice the energy around your body. That space about arm's length direction in all directions, maybe that little bubble that surrounds your body. Start to become aware of your aura, your own little ecosystem. Maybe if you don't really notice one, you can use your hands and kind of feel the edges where that's sitting for you. I kind of like to spin mine and smooth it out. And with your intention, as you're noticing that bubble, I want you to imagine or intend that if this bubble is like a little fish tank, and there's some murky, swampy, poopy water in there, anything that you've been managing from your day, conversations, demands, people you interacted with, sensations that you experienced that rubbed you the wrong way. I want you to allow all of that water in that bubble to start to drain out down that grounding cord. Really let that tank of water, that ecosystem, release. Letting go of all of that stuff you've been managing that you had no idea was in there. You just knew that everything was off today. Don't know what it is, but I just want to punch everybody in the face. Don't know what it is, but everything is too much. That's a very good indicator that you're managing some energy in your space that's not yours. Let all of that go. Take a nice deep breath. And finding that amusement, I'd like you to start to visualize a big golden sun of energy above your head. And in this golden sun, I want you to intend or imagine that you could call all of your energy, all of your empowerment, all of the ease and restfulness, the calm, the inner peace that you need into that golden sun. Watch as that energy comes from all of time and space and really creates this large, sparkling sphere of light. Really just take a moment to reclaim your energy. When that golden sun is big and bright, you can bring it into your body, filling your entire body from head to toe with that golden energy. Let that cascade out into your aura, filling your entire ecosystem with that gold. Take a nice deep breath. Notice your body. You can wiggle and stretch. Come on out of meditation. Great job, everyone. Ah, it's so nice, right? And the big thing about being able to sit down, say, okay, let me tune into my body, let me tune into what's going on for me outside of everything else, aside from my to-do list, the chaos in my world right now, the things that aren't going my way, the energies that are making me feel like I can't exist because somebody is chewing too loud. And let me just find my grounding and make myself feel comfortable. And what you're doing when you're doing a meditative practice, especially with those tools, is you're reclaiming your energy and your space. Man, doesn't it feel different? Just a quick little Quick little meditation, quick little shift. So I have a question for the lovely group. The question is, how many of you can relate to feeling like you're too sensitive? Too sensitive. Ugh. Like the world is turned up to maximum volume all of the time on all of your senses. You feel everything, you feel everybody else's emotions, you notice everything when people are talking. You're maybe hearing their words, but you're also hearing the underlying meaning to what they're saying. You maybe even notice that sometimes things are like too loud and other times everything seems fine. Last night, my air conditioning unit was too loud and I couldn't sleep because of it. And most of the time, I never even notice it. Erica says, hand raise. I have an LOL. What is Lul? Lul. LEWL. Juliet says, me to a T. Yeah. Yeah, I think that is the experience of highly sensitive people. It's like the volume on life is turned up in every way. Caitlin says, definitely, it's been extra heightened lately too. And for Caitlin too, you know, like, especially when you have a lot going on, all of a sudden that level of sensitivity is like, oh, it was at an 100, but now that I have a million other things going on, I'm going to turn that up to 170%. And you're like, why? That extra added level of stress, right? It just, Amanda says, I feel absolutely crazy when I leave my house and go out in society. Amanda, I used to have absolute meltdowns being out in public. It was, I could only go for a little bit. And sometimes I would just pick up on something and all of a sudden I'm like, I have to leave. I have to go. I can't breathe. There's too many people. My clothes are too tight. I'm hungry. I just would like freak out. I totally understand. What is going on out here? Yes, yes. Yeah, what is going on? Okay, somebody's explaining Lul. Lul is how LOL is pronounced as a word, in my humble opinion. Oh, I like that. Me all through high school, yeah. I simultaneously love and dislike people at the same time. Yeah. Melanie, I can relate to that. Sometimes that's tough, where you absolutely love everybody, but at the same time, sometimes you're like, oh man, the things that just came out of your mouth make me question everything. Or the energy that you just approached me with made me question my ability to be so loving. Like when you have a simultaneous Karen interaction. Erica says we're all orchids. That's a good way to explain it. We only need 2 ice cubes worth of water, a specific amount of sunlight, and otherwise leave us alone. Oh, these are great analogies. So what we're going to be talking about tonight is how being highly sensitive kind of influenced the way that we were coming into the world in a way. So for a lot of us in a very young age, we were already hypersensitive. I have a feeling that most of us as young children had wild imaginations. We were always looking at and exploring and playing and maybe a little eccentric. And a lot of times we're highly sensitized already. And the problem becomes when you're already really highly sensitive and you're around a bunch of other people who are not, it becomes a problem that you were highly sensitive. It's inconvenient. It's something that they're trying to train you out of or traumatize you out of by dragging you into scenarios that are overstimulating. They're trying to toughen you up. So all of those things kind of happen. And I think I was having a conversation with you, Caitlin, where I got this very vivid imagery when you were talking about being sensitive. And it's something that reminded me of something that I had experienced. I remember being dragged out to a one of those things where there's like a street parade, and there's music and there's people and there's yelling and there's drunk people, and you're a young kid and you're already highly sensitive, and your parents are like, okay, let's go. And you're like, this is literal torture. And everybody around you is having a great time. And you're like, why do I hate this? Why is this like nails on a chalkboard? Why do I need to cry right now? That's my favorite cartoon character on a float. I don't understand. Please, somebody make it make sense. So really what we learn from a very young age is that your sensitivity and what your body needs, you should really override and ignore that. Or you were taught how to have and create coping mechanisms such as isolation or controlling your environment, to manage and navigate the world as somebody who's highly sensitive. Or that your needs on a body level don't matter because they don't matter to those around you. And I think a very common experience a lot of us have had, this is a question for the group, who's ever been sick and tried to call out of work? Everybody's like, trauma. Who's ever tried to call out of work for anxiety or when you're having a terrible mental or emotional day and had to like try to explain that or justify why? And then you're just met with these people who are like, they're not having it. It's horrible. It's inconvenient. You're a bad worker. You are going to get fired. You're going to lose your job because you're a human being, right? Let me read some of these comments. Amanda says, I was just talking to my partner about this. I told him I've had my intuition shut down my entire life. Yes. So we do learn to kind of turn certain things off because it's too much. So a good example of this would be, I will admit that I was afraid to sleep by myself probably until I was like 27 years old, because I was always seeing stuff and feeling things and hearing things at night. So I have a very awesome body pillow that I hug for comfort. But that was one of my coping mechanisms that I used because it was too much. Erica says, sick and not sick. Amanda, forced myself to go and they had to call an ambulance because I had a panic attack in the back. No. Oh my gosh, I can't tell you how many times I've had that experience where I'm like, okay, I'm going to lose my job. I have to go. I had a catering job and I puked at work because I was so anxious. Juliet, I just tell them it's physical. Yeah, you have to. You have to come up with something really good because people don't get it. It makes me sad that we feel we need to resort to lying to be heard so we can take care of ourselves. Isn't that the truth? Yeah. So there's a lot of intensity around our needs not mattering as highly sensitive people. There's a lot of shame around needing a mental health day or feeling like you're too tired or you're too overwhelmed. And there's a lot of pressure that we put on ourselves to pull it together and pretend that everything is fine, especially when we are overstimulated in the world. So what we're going to do is we're going to learn a technique today to turn the volume down on that sensitivity, because once you practice this and really figure out how to work with it, You can choose when you want to have that sensitivity turned up to a 200%, maybe when you're doing a psychic reading or an energy healing, versus when you want it to be turned down, like at the grocery store or when you're at a parade or when you're at, somebody's birthday party. Be nice to just, have it be a little quieter. So who's ready? Happy dance. You guys are like, wait, we can turn it down? Yes, you can turn it down. So this is a practice, and like anything, you have to build up the muscle of this practice in order for it to work more. So if you do this the first time and you're like, well, guess what, Melanie, it's a little bit better, but I still hate the feel of rayon. I'm sorry, you're going to have to work on it a little bit before rayon becomes a little more bearable. So let's get into the practice. The secrets of the universe. Turning your sensitivity off. Off button. Unsubscribe. Okay, go ahead and take a nice deep breath. Settle back into your body. If you have to kind of shake it out, please do. Give yourself a nice stretch. Whatever you need, just really validate that it's okay for your body to not want to sit still for an hour. We're not really meant to do that anyways. I always like to kind of wiggle like a snake. Find that amusement, find that lightness. I know we kicked up a lot of good stuff from that conversation. And what I want you to do is just go ahead and start to really validate that that grounding is there. It's connected at your hips, and you can take anything that got lit up around having to tell your boss that you got in a 10-car pileup in order to get out of that work meeting, and just let it all drain out of your space. Let it go. I'm hearing the best excuses right now, telepathically, from all of you. This one time, I told them that my phone fell off of a boat. And that's why I didn't answer the work email. Yes. Let all of it go. Let all of that activation and charge go. Breathe. And what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to imagine that you are out in a beautiful place in nature. Start to notice where you are. Are you in a field? Are you in a countryside? Are you in a forest? On a beach? On a mountain? Start to walk around in that scenery, and as you do, really notice all of the little details. What is there? Can you feel the texture of the ground that you're walking on? Is it cool? Is it warm? Is it sandy? Is it grassy? Are there flowers or trees? Can you hear any birds, other animals? Is there a breeze of any sort? Can you feel the sun on your body? Taking a nice deep breath, I'd like you to imagine or intend that there could be a bubble of energy that appears out in front of you, like a soap bubble or a circle. Allow this bubble to show you the energy of your sensitivity. And as I say that, just start to notice what color or colors do you notice in that bubble? Is there a texture, maybe imagery, sound, smell? What I really want you to tune into here is, are there any colors that appear in that bubble that you don't like, that are kind of murky or dull? Maybe like gum stuck to the bottom of a shoe, sandpapery, concrete. What we're looking for in this bubble is the energy from other people in society that says your sensitivity is bad, it's out of control, ignore it, suppress it, shut it down. Or maybe it says something more like, you're not lovable when you're sensitive. It's inconvenient for everybody else. We're just beginning to acknowledge that that is there on a subconscious level. So really just see those colors appear. And this is the perfect time to find your amusement, because without that amusement, this energy gets stuck. I believe everybody's muted. So what I want you to do is I want you to think of an animal noise that you could make. And I want you to make an animal noise at that energy, because taking it seriously is just going to make it stay there. So we're acknowledging it and we're finding that lightness to that energy so it can move. So on the count of 3, you're going to moo, caw, meow, bark, whatever it is, at that energy. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Caw, caw, caw. You didn't think I was gonna mute myself, did you? Oh, man, the cacophony of animal noises. It was like a petting zoo. I wish I could have gotten it recorded, but it'll just be me making an obscene noise for everybody does the replay. That's even better. Ugh. Finding that amusement allows this serious, stuck, heavy, charged energy to start to move. And as you meow or bark or moo at that, BS energy, we'll use PG language tonight. I want you to allow a golden beam of light to come down from your higher self and wash that energy out of that bubble. Allow that golden beam to bring that whole bubble representing your sensitivity to gold. Gold is a healing vibration. It's very spacious. There's lots of permission in that vibration. And what we're doing is we're giving your sensitivity a healing. Moving everybody else's BS opinions about your experience as a highly sensitive soul out. There's a whole bunch of squatters in here and they're spray painting the walls and they're getting evicted. Breathe. Nice. I'd like you to ask that bubble to reveal a volume knob. If there's a little control valve or a volume knob or a gauge there, I want you to see on that little volume knob, where is your sensitivity turned up to? If it's turned up really high, you've got to continue to neigh at that volume knob. Horses neigh, right? Ribbit, frog's ribbit. Whatever it is, don't take it too seriously. You knew, but you didn't really know until you looked at it, right? So now we're acknowledging that it's maybe turned up a little high. Oh, look at that. My volume knob's turned up to 130%. Makes sense. So what I want you to do is I want you to reach out and take that knob and start to turn it down. Be gentle as you do. I want you to gently, lovingly, just start to turn the volume down. Breathe. And just notice that if that volume knob stops while you're turning it down and it gets stuck, find a little bit of amusement. You can have that golden beam of light come directly into that volume knob. That will kind of help it jiggle loose. The next time you are overstimulated or you're overwhelmed, you're anxious, you're irritable, things are the wrong texture, it's the wrong size spoon, the food is touching, it's too loud or too bright. I want you to know that you can decide that you can take the time to turn your sensitivity down. And even if that's just doing the very beginning of what we did in class, where you get grounded, you find that personal aura bubble, and you give yourself your own energy. Or maybe you just practice reaching out a couple times a day and seeing where that little knob is and turning it down. Just decide now that you can do that. No matter what's going on, you could stop whatever's happening, take 5 to 10 minutes and say, you know what? It's too much. I need to find my favorite animal noise and I need to turn the volume down. Breathe. I want you to take that bubble for your sensitivity, bring it directly into your body and space. Bring that healed sensitivity into present time and really own it. Your sensitivity is a gift. I know it doesn't feel that way all the time. I want you to imagine that in that scenery that you're in, that you could experience that nature scene without your sensitivity. If you weren't sensitive, you didn't notice all of the details, you didn't feel, smell, or experience the things that you do, what does that scenery look like? Is it gray? Is it boring and bland? Maybe it's muted or fuzzy. Maybe it's a little sad. The point being that your sensitivity is truly a heightened ability to experience the joy of life, the joy of having a body, the joy of being incarnated, feeling, smelling, seeing, sensing, and experiencing all of the things, the ability to notice subtle energies and see beyond the physical world into the energy that animates everything. You're tuned into that. How cool is that? And I know some of you are like, yeah, sometimes that means the volume's turned up on experiences you'd rather not have. And as you practice meditating and owning your space, you can begin to shift out of those unpleasant experiences by noticing that you're in that energy, addressing it, finding your amusement, and coming out of it. Take a nice deep breath and take that boring filter off of that scenery. You just got a glimpse into what it's like to be a normal person. No wonder they act like that. Empowerment over your sensitivity means choosing when your sensitivity is turned on. And in doing that, you gain the empowerment by practicing with meditative tools to own your sensitivity. Go ahead and create that big golden sun above your head. Call all of your empowerment and excitement to be highly tuned into the subtle world, to energy, to spirit, to all of the sensations, emotions, colors, and feelings. Get excited about it. It's It's really, truly a gift to be able to see the world in the eyes of somebody who's able to see something new and experiencing something new and exciting in the way that a child is all the time. Bring that golden sun in through the top of your head. Fill your entire body with that gold. Validate that sexy, sensitive body. You get to have all of the sensations. Let that gold cascade out into your energetic space. When you are all filled up and bright and sparkly, you can stretch and move. We come out of meditation. Wow. How are you guys doing? How was that? What was it like having the volume turned all the way down on your sensitivity? You can feel free to unmute or type in the chat. Juliet says boring. Yeah, very. It's just kind of flat, like the world's flat. Caitlin says bland. Yeah, very. It's like when you can't taste for some reason, like you got the Rona and everything you try to eat or drink tastes like nothing. Imagine the whole world is like that. That's why people are so cranky. Lenny says, unrelated but related. I'm pumped I started to see a lighter blue come through the indigo. Working that energy. Yeah, validate anything and everything you experience. It's beautiful. Great job. The void is dissipating. Yeah, and a lot of times as highly sensitive souls, we create a way to put a filter between all of that experience and that sensitivity, right? We create a safety net or a wall that says, well, I'm done. I don't want to see anything else. And then when you go to discover and open up to those gifts, you're like, well, every time I go to look, I see a wall. It's like, yeah, because you tried to make all that go away. But you're sensitive enough and intuitive enough to notice the wall. So instead of, oh no, I don't see anything, you can reframe that to be, oh wow, I'm noticing that I really created this stop. And when I push that aside, I notice this beautiful blue start to come through. It's awesome. What you validate, you will expand in. That's what I'm trying to say. Does anybody have any questions or comments or things that they experienced that were interesting or different? How low were you able to get your volume knob to go? Where was it turned up to? Yeah, Melanie says, in regards to the scenery I was in, I felt empty in a way when I put the muggle filter on. Yeah. And so I think that can be something that you can begin to understand about other people that aren't highly sensitive. The people that traumatized you, essentially, they were experiencing the world through that. And then you came along and were like, the light, the lights on the ceiling, they're the worst. I can't do it. And they were like, stop. Everything is terrible. You're going to suffer with us. We're turning the ceiling lights on. And you're like, no. Oh, the muggle filter, that kills me. Caitlin says, when we turned off the senses, I literally zoomed out with force, and then I envisioned the scenery as a painting. Ooh, that's very interesting. So it's almost like when you go to override or shut down your sensitivity, there's a level of maybe leaving the body a little bit or disassociating. It's kind of the vibe I get from it. Like everything becomes a little surreal. Very fascinating. Very cool observation. Yeah, the world becomes two-dimensional. Very cool. Thanks for sharing. Melanie says Bob Ross. Bob Ross. Anybody else want to share? Feel free to unmute as well. When I was prepping for this class, I was kind of starting to notice the energy around what happens when you are repetitively experiencing things in the world that re-establish that your sensitivity is wrong or too much, or that you're too much, or that your needs are too much, and how often as sensitive people we experience that. And if you could classify yourself as ADHD or on the spectrum in some way, I think there's a study out there that says there's like hundreds of thousands of more negative feedback that people get in that experience than people that are neurotypical. So we get this reinforcement that has been repetitively given to us over and over and over from our family, from our peers, from our teachers, from our bosses, in all of the spaces that we exist. So just know that if you've ever felt like, oh no, I'm too sensitive. Oh no, everybody thinks I'm a weirdo because I'm flailing my arms. Oh no, I'm having a panic attack because the lights in the grocery store are too bright. You're not alone. Been there. And the only way you get out of that space is to choose every single day to say, I know I'm highly sensitive. I need to take 10 minutes in the morning to get grounded, to tell my body that it's safe, to really own that energetic space. And when I notice that everything is too much, I take a step back and I take care of myself. You need to reaffirm that those needs and those sensations are real for you, and that it's okay, and that it doesn't have to be something that's wrong. There's nothing broken with you. You've never been broken. You're amazing. And we live in a world where people don't understand our experience. So we think there's something wrong with us, when really they've got the black and white poopy paint filter over their world. And they're like, why aren't you over here with us? And you're like, I'm vibing over here, ma'am. I can't get angry about you not having soy milk or whatever the thing is that they're upset about. I have comments. Amanda says, definitely needed this class. Couple weeks ago, my mother still said the same thing she did as a kid to me. Well, I was mid panic attack, and I'm like, oh no, I'm not doing this, except I was outside meditating and trying to work through it. And it did work through it. Yeah. Amazing. That's so great, Amanda. I love that. And what's so interesting about the whole dynamic is that oftentimes when we're much younger, we're looking for somebody else to show us how to manage that sensitivity. But if they don't have that, or they've kind of learned different coping mechanisms to override that sensitivity or ignore it or shut it down or pretend like it's not there, they don't know how to give us the advice or the comfort or the step-by-step way to do that. So what ends up happening is you're looking to this person who's supposed to guide you, and they're like, let me just traumatize you instead. Let me give you no answers and tell you that you're the problem. And you're like, wow, I feel so loved and seen. Oh, but it's so amazing that you could still be in that situation and decide, you know what? That's her experience, and I'm going to take care of me. Great job, Amanda. Caitlin says, it's so hard to experience joy during times of oversensitivity. So when it's every day, that's when the depression kicks in. So thanks for taking such a joyful approach. Yeah, absolutely. And what happens a lot of times is when you're always in that space of everything being too heightened, it's exhausting. It just wears you out. And you're always noticing everything else. So how are you supposed to be in the moment? There's too many things going on. There's conversations, there's feelings, there's lights, there's sounds, and you can't just be there. But if you can start to practice really owning your energy, that stuff that starts to come in and overstimulate you, you'll notice when it's there and separate from it and have the space to just be. How do you feel after class? Do you feel less heightened, less overstimulated, less chaotic? Yeah. So you can do that in your day. You can take a moment and go, okay, I need to like shake it out. I need to just find my bubble. I need to fill myself in with being here in the present moment and calm, that golden calm, and then try again. And if it's just a day where you just can't, I have those days. I had one of those days a couple days ago, and I was like, today is a day. And I'm going to embrace it. I had a lot of stuff to do today, and I decided to play with my plants in my house instead, because I really just needed to like decompress. And that's my favorite decompression thing aside from meditation. And instead of doing that for like 30 minutes, like I said I was going to, I did it for like 2.5 hours. And afterwards, I was like, wow, I feel so much better. I really needed that. I needed my special interest. Yeah, and the other part to that, Caitlin, is you can't work through the energy that is keeping you stuck in that charge or stuck in that space where there's that pain around sensitivity unless you can find that lightness, because the pain and the stuckness and the intensity or the judgment around it keeps that energy stuck. And we get into being really serious about it, trying to fix it, trying to solve it, trying to figure it out. But when we just sit with it and are able to be there with it and find that lightness, it can start to move. And a lot of the people here tonight are in the Women's Intuitive Training Program, but they know that Olivia and I call amusement spiritual lube, because nothing can get stuck as long as you have that lightness. It creates space, it creates permission, and stuff can begin to move, and you can work on stuff that's really painful and really stuck and really annoying and actually make headway. So I hope that you found a really amusing animal noise to make tonight. Melanie says, yes, it feels like burnout. Yeah, absolutely. Amanda agrees. I don't know what you're saying right now, Amanda, that you love for me, but awesome. So thank you all so much for being here. I do have one announcement. Oh yeah, playing with the plants. The plants have taken over the house. I literally converted half of my closet to a greenhouse because it's my favorite special interest. I'm like, I don't need room for clothes. Who needs clothes? So my announcement is that if you're not already signed up for the group healing clinic, it is going to be moved to Tuesday, the 26th at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. Your first one's absolutely free. If you're interested in joining one of those and just coming and receiving a healing, it's really nice. It's through Zoom. You just come in, you don't even have to turn on your Zoom camera, and you can just receive a healing. So basically, instead of doing the healing work, which we just did in that meditation, you'd just be coming in and just basking in the glory of receiving a healing. So if you're into that, please reach out if you'd like to get signed up. Awakening Sanctuary Round 2 is starting in October. Women's Intuitive Training Program. If you have friends or family that are interested, send them my way. Yeah, I think that's it. So I'm going to hang out for any other questions that you might have about anything pertaining to being highly sensitive. If there's something specific you want to ask, and I will stop the recording here. And then I also impulsively purchased this new tarot deck. So if you want to get a little tarot pull, I'll pull a tarot card for you. Thank you all so much for being here. And I'm going to stop the recording. So in the Awakened Spirit meditation classes, your first 2 classes are always going to be free when you sign up. So if you want to get signed up, check out the link in the bio and you will be able to sign up there. I also host healing clinics, and they're on the 2nd and 4th Fridays of the month at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. Those are awesome way to get in and just get a healing, receive if you're feeling really overstimulated, overwhelmed, if you're just having a really bad week or a really bad year, come in and get a healing. The first one is absolutely free. Everything is done through Zoom, so there is no need to worry about having to even go anywhere or even have your Zoom camera on. The other thing that I do is I teach a women's intuitive development training program, and that is called Awakening Sanctuary. In Awakening Sanctuary, you will learn how to own your sensitivity, develop your intuitive gifts, open your third eye, access the astral plane, find your own answers and deep truths by looking at and seeing energy. And if you're somebody who's highly sensitive, you're already doing that. You're just not aware that you are. So what that might translate as is you're overstimulated, you're overwhelmed, you're anxious, you're frustrated all the time. You're taking on other people's emotions. You identify as an empath. Maybe you're even interested in some esoteric, witchy topics. This training is going to be absolutely for you. So in Awakening Sanctuary, what you get are somatic breathwork classes taught by my business partner, Olivia Ray, who is fantastic, amazing, amazing woman. Her classes are very deeply tuned into what does your body need and how can you learn how to tune into what your body needs in order to navigate the world as a highly sensitive soul. The other thing that you're going to get is these meditation classes in Awakening Sanctuary. In Awakening Sanctuary, you also get the healing clinics and you get to practice your skills. So if that's something you're interested in, all of the information is linked in the description. The other thing that I do that is very exciting is I run a one-on-one program called the Empowered Empath, and it is a mentorship program for people who are highly sensitive, spiritual business owners, people who are looking to develop and own their sensitivity and take what they are working with to the next level. So this is really a great space for people who are already spiritual practitioners or spiritual business owners that have a lot of information that's not totally integrating into the body for some reason. So a lot of times we have a lot of information about different things we've studied, but for whatever reason, it feels somewhat disconnected from our day-to-day lives. I've worked with people that do ritual work, have done shamanic training, Reiki. Lots of people have done Reiki, numerology, astrology, you name it. I have worked with them. So if that is you, please be sure to check out the information in the description, because that is where you can find the information on where to sign up, all of the additional information about that offering, and you can find the application for the Empowered Empath Mentorship Program. As always, if you'd like to support my ability to do scholarships for people into the intuitive training program, to run free classes, to do a lot of the outreach stuff that I do in the community, you can Venmo me, and my Venmo is at Melanie Sheree. The last 4 of my phone are 3. Why is this so difficult? 3942. 3942. I don't know why I thought that would be so much easier. It wasn't. It wasn't as easy as I expected it to be. So anyways, thank you so much for being here. I hope that you really enjoyed this content. And if there's anything else that I can do for you, I do free 15-minute consultations. You can get linked up for those through my website, melaniesheree.com. Additional information about Awakening Sanctuary is available at awakeningsanctuary.com. And also, if you are on Instagram, my Instagram handle is @_awakened.spirit, and you can DM me anytime. Thank you so much for being here. I love you. And I just want you to know that there's nothing wrong or broken with you. You are a highly sensitive, awakened spirit in a world that is not designed for highly sensitive souls. So it's time for you to find your community of people who just get it. We get it. We're overstimulated by the sound of fabric rubbing together. We are overstimulated by too many people talking at once. We are frustrated because we're feeling everybody else's emotions. Link up with people in some community where they just get you, because if you're not surrounded by people who understand your experience, it can be very isolating and a very frustrating, depressing existence. So if this touched you in some way, there's so many different resources I have out there, so many different tiers of resources, and I hope that I will see you in and a part of this community sometime soon. Love ya.